That's 100%. The fact that they thought they can get away with that, that's so crazy. Like, that is such a crazy thing to try to get away with. This gigantic international case. Hey, what happened to the cameras? Oh, I'm fucking broke, man. I don't know. Sucks. Guy hung himself.
They needed a couple days to make the videos and stuff like that.
Bro,
like,
he tried. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem with
these are
today.
so fake.
He tried to hang himself before. And they're like, hey, don't do that again. And he's like, all right, I won't. Give me my belt. Give me my shoelaces. Give me whatever the fuck that guy strangled me with.
Yeah, these photos are all fake, right?
No. Hold on.
I mean,
I don't know why it's not.
They're very realistic.
We need Eddie Bravo in here immediately.
Okay, here we go. Here. So this is from his cell. This is inside there. I'll put these up on the screen. So this was the cell he was in by himself.
Okay.
They said he used a bunch of these orange jumpsuits, which I guess were already in there.
He tied them around his head?
I guess there is a little like spot way up here on the top of the grate where the window is, where you could see maybe there was something up there. But the thing to remember here is that he was about 6 foot tall, 185 pounds. There's one other thing like on this ladder here. There is also some other things I'll get into in just a second that would be easier to use than tying all this shit together. But they showed, there's the other thing here was this. This was about 4 feet off the ground. And they do show a noose, which they're saying was what he used. But as the doctor sort of said, that the noose that they show a picture of, which is what you can see in the top right corner here. Just playing this,
that's Dr. Michael Baden. That's that guy from the
Mm.
HBO autopsy show.
For some reason, I can't, I'll find it in a second, but the picture that shows his actual neck doesn't seem like this noose caused that wound. And it's a little bit lower than it probably should have been.
Oh, Jesus.
So they're showing some of these other, this is some of the pictures of him. This is the bone, his jaw, the hyoid bone.
His jaw was broken?
Well, there's that fracture that they said wasn't consistent with hanging. It's more consistent with a murder or homicide. And he said, this is Baden's words, is that
All right. We are rocking. Yeah, we got a big topic. We're gonna get straight to it today. We got Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm coming in hot.
Loud.
I'm coming in hot today. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'm too close to the mic. But let me step back here. See if it makes a difference. We coming in hot today. Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't know. Y'all tell me how to say the name. But we're talking about the case, how it went down, what has happened. We'll give you a quick timeline, discuss some clips, see where this leads us. We were contemplating talking about it yesterday. We took a different turn, got more info today to be a little more prepared to talk about this issue. So we are extremely excited. By the way, I'm Savory. That's the co-star Macho. Welcome to Drinks with a Nobody. Let us know what you're drinking. Let us know if you joined us before. Hit that like, hit that notification bell as we get into these hot topics. Talk to us, Macho.
All right, we got our first segment here, Mind Your Business. But before we get to the vote, let's play this video.
I had several dinners with him, hoping that what he said about getting billions of philanthropy for global health.
Goes on about philanthropy a lot, doesn't he? He's really pushing the philanthropy angle. I'm going around Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein? No, what? No. To talk about philanthropy, though. A new book about Jeffrey Epstein suggests that the revelations that we've already received will continue to be muddied, and the chance of ever knowing the truth remains unlikely, slim. Why does the Jeffrey Epstein case continue to create such a storm? What contacts did he have? What was he providing? What is the real truth? And how do stories like this one generate continual mistrust between ordinary people, the media, and the government?
Right there. Let's clip that. And let's roll that screen. So there is, based on what Russell Brand is saying there, he's bringing to the surface that there's some secrets, deep down dirty secrets when in relation to the Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, all these kinds of things that are going on right now. And will we ever know the truth? So he's alluding that this continues to perpetuate the distrust in media, in our society, and in our government. All in favor for him to mind his business, yay or nay? What do you think, Savory?
What you vote, Macho? Let's start off with you right quick. I'm curious.
I actually I don't always agree with Mr. Brand, but I actually am in favor of him not minding his business. I like where he was going there.
Yeah, man, I'm actually enjoying what he's doing. He's more on the left, but he's still giving refreshing point of views on certain topics, which we're gonna be for. If you know anything about our podcast, you join. If you're giving, regardless of where you stand, you give a refreshing view of something, and I feel like he's approaching it in an honest way, in my opinion, from what I see. So I like that, because the same thing he was doing with, the Trump collusion, he actually started getting into that and attracting more of a diverse crowd rather than just the left, and criticism from the left. So I vote, don't mind your business. Keep going. We need people like that on the left and right.
We definitely need people who want to expose the truth. Anyone who wants to. I'm not talking about conspiracies. I'm not talking about on what is it that this guy would say on the James O'Keefe, where he would say it needs to be verified. It needs to be like, you have to investigate what you're about to say. So when you're going to bring this information to the forefront, or you're going to bring up these questions, are we verifying that there are secrets with the Epstein case? Are we verifying that there are secrets with Ghislaine Maxwell? And we are realizing they are. There's a ton of secrets.
How's my mic? Let's do a quick mic check.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. You sound
okay.
crisp.
I know I was coming in hot, so I think I'm better now. All right, cool.
Yeah, I was telling you off air for the audience to know behind the scenes. I was like, bro, I can hear you breathing. I can hear you breathing.
Yeah, it's all good. I want the audience also, get a quick BTS behind the scenes.
I'm just curious, before we move to this next segment here, what are people drinking? Savory, what are you drinking today? Oh my! Here we go. What is this? Like a mango juice or a
It's a
puree or a
mango. It's like a
smoothie?
mango nectar thick juice. It's actually a
Nectar.
brand from Dominican Republic. They bring here, but it tastes differently when they bring it here. I guess because they freeze it and all that, but it's still good.
Oh, in order for it to, hey, good evening. How are we?
So they could
In
preserve
order
it. Yeah.
for it, yeah, okay, I got what you're saying. So they
Yeah,
freeze it,
so
bring it here, and then boom. So it doesn't taste fresh, is what
yeah,
you're
it ain't
saying.
quite the same when you taste it on the island out there. You feel me? But yeah, we out here though.
What's this? Oh, barefoot wine? Is that what we drinking tonight? Well, we bougie.
Oh, barefoot
We pinkies
wine.
raised up today.
G4L, welcome. I'm personally not on Rumble. I've heard somewhat of that platform, but I'm
Oh,
not on
we
there.
should
But
hit that platform
yeah, maybe we
with our
should, right?
show.
Maybe we should. But
Yeah,
thanks
that's a good
for
idea.
that for that
Also,
take right there.
this person that I don't know how to pronounce this, the North. I'm gonna say North for the sake of the argument
North.
here.
I said
Um,
G4L.
I appreciate some of the comments in terms of like some of our pre-records, some of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
constructive criticism. Listen, we
Facts.
love anyone commenting. Please also
Mhm.
not only comment, share our videos. We're trying to break through the algorithm here.
Galactic North.
Galactic
Oof.
North, my guy, what's going on?
Yeah.
Just curious, where are you from? And we're going to continue with the show here. I just wanted to stop and address the crowd here and just kind of see what people are drinking. So now that we got our drinks, let's get on with the show. Let's move on to the next segment, Savory.
Showtime. The next
Showtime,
segment
ladies and gentlemen.
is y'all.
And this next segment that I have here is how they were caught. I found this video on YouTube,
Mm.
and it's specifically bringing to light how the Epstein or the Ghislaine Maxwells of the world were exposed to society, how we found out about them.
In 2005, just 3 years after New York Magazine named Jeffrey Epstein an international money man of mystery, allegations that the financier had engaged in sex acts with minors began to surface. Investigators quickly realized that this was not an ordinary crime. Today, we will look at how Epstein continuously evaded accountability for his crimes for over a decade until the moment he was truly caught.
Okay. So I want to first get your thoughts right there, right off the bat, Savory. Is it true? Yes or no? Was he evading the true penalty of his crimes?
Oh, what it seems like it. Yeah, it does seem like it. So it seems like he was a man of he was well connected, knew a lot of people. That's like facts right here. These are the facts that I know. Of these facts, I can make an assumption that he just had a lot of pull through different, whether it be attorney generals, police, people in FBI, politicians. This man knew a lot of people, man. He's an important person.
Oh yeah.
So I think it was him evading and running away from his crimes and thinking, by the way, that he can do it forever. Because when you have that much power, you get to a point where you can't really be stopped, or you think you can't be stopped. So yeah.
Okay, great point. I'm gonna say that he wasn't evading. He couldn't. Even though his intentions was to evade, to use his connections, to use his financial power. I'm gonna say he wasn't, because the show is the bit of this episode kind of contradicts itself, because people still got the information out. They still went to the police, and he was still tried in court for these crimes. Now, here's where I'm going to stop and say what I'm about to say. That doesn't mean what he got was fair, in my opinion. In my opinion, in my little old opinion, right? Him getting a slap on the wrist for what he was doing. No, I feel like he should have gotten the full extent of the law. But then again, that doesn't mean he evaded penalty for what he did. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein was born on January 20th, 1953 in Brooklyn, New York. Notably good.
Savory, by the way, I always love when they go back and they show these clips. This is where it all began. This is where he resided, and this is where he started his pedophilia. Like when they go deep and have this analysis. By the way, just like let's clean back. By the way, you know what I'm saying. By the way, this is not Epstein. Just so everybody's clear.
They went deep
with
back.
numbers. Epstein joined the math team at Lafayette High School. and briefly studied math and physics at both Cooper Union and NYU, but never received a degree. Instead, by the mid-1970s, he began teaching calculus and physics at the Dalton School.
By the way, NYU, I work there, just so I could just throw that. I just can't talk about them as a disclaimer. But NYU and Cooper Union are so close together that people confuse the two schools for being the same school. That's how closely knit they are. But they are two totally separate schools. If people who are in each school know the difference, but from the naked eye, from the civilian eye, you wouldn't know.
School, an expensive private school in New York City. According to The Guardian, Epstein was known for wearing a fur coat, gold chains, and an open shirt that exposed his chest. And at least once, he showed up at a high school.
So what does that sound like to you? What era does that sound like to you? Fur coat, chains, open chest. What era does that sound like to you?
It's like the 80s, you know, like.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's not far-fetched that he's probably wearing this. And I don't know if the school allowed him to wear this every day. Maybe he wore this as a costume, or maybe he wore this
I was swag back then. Yeah.
Or maybe it was a thing. Maybe that was a thing. I mean, I'm not defending the guy. I'm just saying, let's not criticize what he's wearing like in the 80s. Come on, guys. You can criticize what I wore 10 years ago, right, Savory?
Oh, yeah, you could definitely do that with me, man.
School party where his students were drinking. He paid persistent attention to girls in the hallways and in his classroom, which was so disconcerting. Some students later recalled it left an impression that lingered for decades. Though he was never formally accused of sexual misconduct, one student felt so uncomfortable with him, they reported his behavior to a school official. Ultimately, he was let go from the staff due to poor performance.
Yeah.
Working at the prestigious school had its benefits. According to Vanity Fair, through his students, he also became connected to powerful parents, one of whom was Ace Greenberg, a legendary trader and a senior partner at Bear Stearns, a company that targeted men exactly like Epstein. They didn't need to have.
This is where he claimed his title to be financier. This is where it all started. That's why they're going this far back. I don't think it's relevant, in my opinion. But okay,
I can see that.
I digress.
This is a good video, by the way. We can do off this video. We can talk about so much. So yeah. Let's go.
Pedigree. They just needed to be PSD, poor, smart, and deeply desirous to get rich quick. In 1976, Epstein was hired as a junior assistant. By 1980, just 4 years after he had gotten into the business, he was made a senior partner. Epstein quickly acquired a bevy of personal clients as well, and by 1981, he left Bear Stearns to open his own wealth management firm called J. Epstein & Co. His business operated slightly differently than the rest of the industry. He refused to take any client who didn't have at least $1 billion in assets, and acted as their financial architect who controlled all investments, tax strategy.
Yeah, he shot for the stars, and guess what? He hit the bullseye, Savory. Every single time.
That's crazy.
And philanthropic endeavors. Epstein charged a flat fee, never taking commissions or percentages, but demanded power of attorney to control his client's entire fortune. By some estimates, even if his annual management fee was 0.5%, one account worth $15 billion would yield him $75 million a year alone.
Smart man.
He had about 20 accountants to keep numbers on track, 150 employees for administrative duties, and several beautiful female assistants to keep his schedule tight. But
again, I don't think that's relevant, right?
Well, they're trying to paint a certain picture of him. So.
I get it. I totally understand. We know he's the devil, but again, this is not relevant. Maybe he liked having assistants. Maybe he was a bachelor. I don't know.
No one except him could manage or analyze the accounts. He made every investment decision by himself. In addition to his clients, Epstein collected friends he wanted to keep close, often men with political power or in the sciences. For example, he built his Santa Fe home after spending time with Nobel Prize-winning physicist Murray Gell-Mann. who was co-chair of the science board at the Santa Fe Institute at the time. Gerald Edelman, another Nobel Prize winner who managed the Neurosciences Institute, said that at one point, Epstein was giving them $20 million a year, likely in exchange to visit and ask scientific and philosophical questions.
Damn, 20 million in the 80s? What was that? Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Most infamously, though, were Epstein's targeted political connections. Some say he worked especially hard to get close to Bill Clinton, and future President Donald Trump said of Epstein in 2002, "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with."
By the way, they always connect two prolific people. They say that there's more, but somehow they always keep circulating around Trump and Clinton. Those are the two. They say, well, there's all these people. There's all these, politicians. Okay, name them. Like you're so willingly able to name Trump and Clinton. Come on. Name
By the
them
way,
all.
Trump banned him from Mar-a-Lago, one of his hotels.
And I think
know if
what
you
was
knew
that?
that.
That was in like 2013. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was before this whole thing was public, and it was on misconduct of a minor or something like that. So
So
banned
do
him for
you
life.
think that? Do you think his reputation preceded him to the point where Trump was like, "All right, you cut, homie"?
It could be, unless it's either two things, either that or the other side that says that Trump was low key involved, which I don't really think so, to be honest. But I just think, because the thing is, you have now supposedly in court, his name was said. I don't know if it was on the actual flights, which we'll get to that later, but I don't know. I would like to see it, because Bill Clinton supposedly flew numerous times on that plane that goes to the private island. So it's just a lot to it. So I don't know. I don't think he was involved, but I might be wrong. Who knows?
Again, going to the island doesn't assume guilt. I mean, we all know they gave it the nickname Pedo Island, but not because of these men, but because of Jeffrey Epstein, right?
Yeah.
Just saying. I'm not saying.
But if you're flying with him on loud back and forth, that is a red flag, which they don't have that for Trump yet. Mostly for Bill Clinton, they do have him flying back and forth with him, which is weird.
You got a lot of explaining to do, if you're going back and forth like that, bro.
It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life. But for several decades, Epstein had been romantically linked to Ghislaine Maxwell, the daughter of British media mogul Robert Maxwell,
here we go.
who had her own townhouse
Ghislaine, they said it,
blocks away
Ghislaine.
from his in New York. The heiress was known as a socialite, a party girl with friends in all stratospheres, as high as British royalty.
So this is the heart of the conversation
Many
today.
postulated that despite their connection, their relationship was largely platonic, mainly due to Epstein's dedication to his bachelor lifestyle. Journalist David Patrick Columbia said of the pair, "It's a mysterious relationship that they have. In one way, they are soulmates, yet they..."
Clip it
nice
here.
Conventional relation where they
There's
serve
a-
each other's purpose. Yeah. So that
There's a-
all right.
there's
We're
a
clipping
ton.
it there to connection of how they
There's
both
a
kind
ton
of
of
got.
information that we're gonna flesh out verbally, but that's about it. Where we can clip this video, because obviously Epstein is not on trial because he's dead. That
He's
boy
dead,
dead. So we're Ghislaine Maxwell is on trial for being an accomplice, for perjuring, for assisting in the trafficking of minors, literally grooming them or looking for them, or recruiting is the word I'm looking for. So
They said the name there, Ghislaine Maxwell, from how they said it, but who knows? But
And the other thing I want to highlight here with what that video, by the way, it's called How They Were Caught. If anyone's interested in watching the rest of that video clip, very good, very interesting.
how they were called, cool.
They talk about the sweetheart deal that Epstein got, that prosecutor Jim Acosta of the state of Florida worked out with Alan Dershowitz, that they both came to an agreement after a teenager went to the police and said, "Hey, I was just assaulted by XYZ." And they investigated. There was a lot of things that came out of that. And because of it, the prosecutor and Alan Dershowitz both came to a deal between each other and gave him a year, 13 months in prison, which, okay, is highly questionable. and it was only 12 hours on and 12 hours off daily, just so you know.
Super highly questioned. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he would be in
That's
prison.
odd.
He would be in jail for 12 hours a day, which was from the time of 11 p.m. to like around 7 something in the morning, or maybe even later than that, maybe 11 in the afternoon, quote unquote, 12 hours, and then go to his office. That's strict orders for him to be in his office to continue his work. That doesn't sound like jail.
Wow.
To me. So
Yeah, that does. Check this out. Going off what you're saying. So July 2019, Epstein is arrested, right? Charges of luring dozens of girls as young as 14 to his home in New York City and Florida and playing them for sex. Dozens. That's crazy. That doesn't sound like a right thing as far as like the time they give him. He pleads not guilty in Manhattan federal court. Epstein is placed on suicide watch after being found unconscious in jail cell with all this was 2019, so that wasn't the case. That was fast forward. He claims he was attacked by a cellmate and is taken off suicide watch less than a week after the incident. There's a lot of what I played, the Joe Rogan clip I played in the beginning. It's a lot of questionable things about his death because he was on 24-hour surveillance. He was on suicide watch. So supposedly it's almost like to kill yourself, but then they found odd things in his cell. He had broken bones somewhere, although he hung himself. So there's a lot of questions and things about what actually happened to Epstein.
I will say we were going to get to this part of the suicide because we're going to play a clip from The Hill. I'm not even, I don't have any thoughts or even anything that rises up as to the surrounding of his death, because again, I don't really care. One less hated person in the world. But
what
could this mean he was revealing people, whatever the case may be? We don't know, because Ghislaine Maxwell has been in prison for about a year and she has not said a word. I don't know. Apparently they may be working out a deal. We don't know.
Yeah,
there's a lot of secrecy to this case.
A lot of what happened, so with Ghislaine Maxwell, what's happening is they're using her, it seems like, to get the information they wanted from Epstein as well, right?
Right.
But Epstein supposedly was that person who was going to reveal a lot of powerful people, which is why the conspiracy theory around him dying in jail or them killing him in jail sounds valid because of who he was in light of everything,
Well, and seeing in the previous history, right? If we look at just not here, but even outside of the United States, he settled cases with these girls, right? Civil suits. He paid the money.
Oh, yeah,
he paid the money in Florida. He paid those girls money in Florida. He settled these cases, but they brought it up again. Maybe because something else. Maybe because also the victims weren't satisfied enough that they wanted to put this man behind bars.
Well, they were tying now political powers and other people. Yes. They weren't doing that before.
Yes.
So that's what
and it probably had a vested interest because of the man who was in office to bring this to the surface, right? Because, the New York's DOJ, or the district attorney, has had a hard-on for Trump. So she's been wanting to bury this dude in any way possible, even if it doesn't look good, even if he's not guilty, it doesn't look good. So this will cause a strain on the eyes. Now, here's another point that I wanted to kind of get to is no matter if despite the person, I don't know. I want to remind our viewers, the FBI raided his home in Fifth Avenue, his mansion. He had videotapes of who was going in and out of his house everywhere, meaning he was recording all of this. So if you don't need them to corroborate with you. My curiosity is why are you using them to say, oh yeah, they did it, when you have video footage of it? And mind you, they never talked about what was on those tapes. They never talked about it.
A lot of people don't trust the FBI, so that's a whole different guy. There's so many loose ends with so many loose ends with this case. But
there's so many vested interests in this because you have all this information. He had camera footage.
That's a good point. Let's get to some of your videos though, so we could do that nobody versus the experts transition, because I know you got a lot of good material.
We're in here. Let's play that graphic to remind our audience. That's right. We are the nobody. They are the experts. They're supposed to figure this stuff out. And mind you, anybody could be the experts. Anyone who claims they have the information. We're just the guys on the outside, just looking at all this with you and giving.
Let's watch it. We the nobodies. Let's watch a little bit of this.
Hey Kim, what's on your radar?
Well, while the world focuses relentlessly on the new COVID variant, rising gas prices, and Biden not wearing a mask in Nantucket, something else is happening that would otherwise be getting front page coverage. The trial of Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. The names and strange connections to this case continue to pile up, and I'll reveal the latest coincidental connection and big name attached at the end. You'll have to wait for it. But first, let's go over a primer of the trial that will be taking place over the next, what they estimate to be 6 weeks. The trial begins today in Manhattan. Maxwell faces 6 charges directly related to sex trafficking and exploitation of underage girls. If convicted of all 6, she faces up to 70 years in prison. She also faces 2 counts of perjury, but those charges will be addressed in a separate trial that's yet to be set. So let's go over the 6 charges she faces in court today.
All right, we already probably know this, but let's just see.
Let's go over this. Is good right here, so people can see.
Conspiracy to entice minors.
Go ahead.
Conspiracy to entice. I know she's gonna read it, but so people can see it, so she reads it to have. But it's good to go over the counts here. I won't read it since it looks like she's gonna say it, but she's gonna go to the 6 counts. It's important to know to see exactly what's going on in this case here. Keep going.
Right.
That's good.
Right. And there's another layer to this. It's just the first page.
Minors to travel to engage in illegal sex acts. Count 2, enticement of a minor to travel to engage in illegal sex acts. Count 3, conspiracy to transport minors with intent to engage in criminal sexual activity. Count 4, transportation of a minor with intent to engage in criminal sexual activity. Count 5, sex trafficking conspiracy. Count 6, sex trafficking of a minor. I would say those charges are not good for Ghislaine Maxwell, but these charges do span over a 10-year period of time between 1990.
She said that matter-of-factly, like, oh, these charges are not good. Like, of course they're not good. Just from the moral perspective, you may not be guilty of this, right? But the fact that they're bringing charges in this manner doesn't look good, right, Savory?
No, for sure. And these charges, look, this is serious stuff. This is heinous crimes, and it's almost like, what is it? Not almost, but if this is true, and the island is connected to all this, we have a kind of an official business of child exploitation, right? We have an official machine, right? This is why this is so scary with Epstein, because his names were linked to very powerful people. Then he died, didn't really reveal that, but this all links to what? A powerful machine. It's not just Epstein on his own. This just proves that, wow, this could be very dangerous. And who else in our government, right? This is the big question, is involved in this. The public, I believe in one way, they're going to protect certain people, and some, I hope some of the truth is revealed, but this is serious stuff.
In light of this, you got to defund these politicians. They got too much power, they got too much money, and they can be doing these kind of crimes, man.
1994 and 2004, and involved 4 different victims, though we know there were likely many, many more. This particular court case only involves these 4. The indictment states that Ghislaine assisted, facilitated, and contributed to Jeffrey Epstein's abuse of minor girls by, among other things, helping Epstein to recruit, groom, and ultimately abuse victims known to Maxwell and Epstein to be under the age of 18. Basically, what the prosecution will be presenting is evidence that Ghislaine prepared these minor girls, some as young as 14, to engage in sex acts with Epstein. The young girls were enticed and recruited by Ghislaine and eventually would be groomed by Ghislaine to engage in paid sex acts that were labeled as massages.
Was the groomer.
One victim accuses actually Ghislaine herself.
According to the accusation, wow.
She's the
almost like the right hand. It's almost like it don't happen without her. She's that, you know what I'm saying? Like that's why it's the dangerous charges, yeah. So,
because I guess maybe this creep knew that a man coming to random women wouldn't look good, you know? So let me use a woman, let me hide behind a woman to do the dirty work. So
she became rich, all the benefits. She, there's reasons for her to do that. If I want to see what the evidence shows. Unfortunately, by the way, for the people to know, this is not. We got used to cases being on air publicly, but this is not happening with this case. Most cases that doesn't happen, so it's not.
Well,
don't get used
historically,
to that.
Well, just to be quite honest, historically speaking, trials in New York City do not get put on the air. It's very rare.
Almost nowhere, right? Yeah, I never seen it.
I never seen a trial in other states. Yeah, I never seen that here in New York.
Let's go.
of participating in group sex with Epstein and the victim. These events would take place all over the country in Epstein's various residences, including Palm Beach, New Mexico, Manhattan, and even in Ghislaine's residence in London. Now, the victims, who are all now adults, will not be named in court. They will instead be allowed to use pseudonyms or their first names only. And this takes us to the topic of names. With so many powerful people connected to Jeffrey Epstein, which big names are we likely to hear in court? Well, probably no one's. That's right. We're likely to hear 0 powerful names dropped or implicated in this trial. Now, why is that?
And is that accurate? When we just heard that Trump's name was dropped, Clinton's name was dropped.
But was it in court? Was it dropped in court?
Yeah, they cross-examined the pilot that was taking these people. Not, I wouldn't say traffic. He was just flying. That was his job. To fly.
Okay, so it wasn't only the media, it was the court, the witness who actually. But I wonder in what context as well. But let me see what she says here on
what
Why Now.
she's basically alluding to is like they're not indicting them or bringing them up on charges as a result of. Yeah.
Because of the victims who have publicly dropped names, the prosecution left them out. There are no charges against Maxwell that involve any of the more well-known victims. For example, Virginia Giuffre, the most well-known of Epstein's victims, is not included in this trial. Giuffre is the one who claims she was trafficked to Prince Andrew. She also claims she was trafficked to New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson.
And I also want to.
This is a little odd because I heard somebody earlier. I wanted to finish that video. I was caught up with work where it was talking about the judge was somebody who was connected to Epstein and Obama, and now the James Comey's daughter, there's the big kind of, I guess, conspiracy on the other side.
We're gonna get there.
But yeah, okay, let's go.
Yeah, but I also want to say, please remember this person, Victoria Roberts. I have some thoughts to say about her. People may not agree with me. You may not even agree with me, Savory, but I want to bring the other side of the coin. So let's keep watching.
Beautiful.
Former U.S. Senator George Mitchell, lawyer Alan Dershowitz, modeling scout Jean-Luc Brunel, and billionaire Glenn Dubin. Now, why is she not included in the trial? Well, it's unclear. She says Ghislaine Maxwell was heavily involved in her exploitation, but for whatever unknown reason, the prosecution didn't.
And again, this is also very facetious, unclear. As a reporter, it is your responsibility to check that, to look that up. Ask the questions. Say, hey.
Well, they're probably hiding a lot of that information, I would say. For you know what I'm saying?
Well, at least do what normal reporters do. Say, hey, we reached out to this person and waiting for comment. Don't say it's unclear. Say maybe it's not being publicly addressed or publicly exposed.
This is already a lot of loose ends.
Yeah, there are
too many loose ends for me already. Epstein already was weary. Now, it's a lot of. Let's keep going.
Didn't bring up any charges related to Giuffre's case. Another victim who appears to be absent from the trial is Sarah Ransom. Ransom accused Epstein of raping her and accused both Epstein and Maxwell of recruiting her into their sex trafficking ring and lending her out to their friends, including Alan Dershowitz. Most importantly, Ransom was primarily stationed on Epstein's island in the Caribbean and would have seen and possibly interacted with the various influential people being flown on and off the island on Epstein's private jet. People such as Donald Trump and Bill Clinton, perhaps. In an interview with CBS News, Ransom stated, Ghislaine was Jeffrey's right hand, the lieutenant of the whole pyramid. She made sure we all stayed in line, that when we were called to his bedroom, that we went.
So hold up. You're telling me the person who said that is not going to be called up to the stand?
The person who made that claim there.
Yeah. Is not going to be called up to the stand or part of this case.
No.
Nah, you see? That's it. I'm done.
Why?
How does that make it? How does that make it? Like, I'm just saying, like, these are people, like, you have to cross-examine. Am I wrong here? Like, aren't these people worth cross-examining to see, like, the details of their truth or lies or whatever it might be? She's just saying two important people.
There's another layer here.
All right, let's keep going.
Victims, this is no, not with this video, but from the previous clip, because we clipped it early.
Yeah,
there's another layer. That sweetheart deal, that I mentioned, gave them, Ghislaine Maxwell and other accomplices, immunity. They can never be tried in court for that specific reason. So all those girls within that time frame, which they also fall in that criteria within that time frame, they're immune from that. And this is where it goes back to Florida. It goes back to Jim Acosta.
But they can't be cross-examined. When you're. So it's because they were also part of it. They were victims and part of it.
They were victims and they were part of it. Yes, they were.
But they can't be
cross-examined.
They should be able to be cross-examined because Ghislaine Maxwell is on trial, and they have valuable information that can bring pressure on the
reason why I'm
defense.
saying that they probably couldn't do that is because they
tight.
gave Jim Acosta over there gave them immunity for those crimes. So now you
Yeah.
can't open the case again. You can't even do that. So you
I
got-
agree with
and
I
my-
agree, by the way, with Jeffrey right here. Either they were told by a higher power, which whatever, that could be many things, to back off or claim is not valid. But in between that, there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm just
You
here.
have
This
the
is great
immunity.
information you're giving us right here. I'm just like, wow, like I got so many
Yeah.
questions now.
Either the immunity covers them, and by the way, what Ghislaine Maxwell is going to trial for is not even for the recent crimes. It's from the late mid-90s. Excuse me. Oh my God, Rona.
Bless you, bless you.
Up until like the late 90s. That's it. So how are these girls fit into that criteria? They had to work that out. Prosecution, judge, and the defense attorney. They all had to work that in and factor that in. Also, I still want to keep a thumb on these women. These women are keep a thumb on them because there's another layer to it. Just so y'all know. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
This is
The
crazy.
case with
Galactic
Epstein
North,
and
I'm
Maxwell,
with
so
you.
it's not looking like she's included in the trial.
Here's the
Now,
spin,
this takes us
guys.
to a big name attached to the case that we'll be hearing a lot of during this trial, and that's Comey. Not James Comey, but his daughter, Maureen. Maureen
Okay,
Comey
Comey.
is one of the 3 lead prosecutors in this Maxwell case. Maureen was also a lead prosecutor in the Jeffrey Epstein case before he allegedly killed himself over 2 years ago.
Oh,
She
hold
also
up.
worked on
And
another.
here's another thing.
That's
about
the
what Paul reported.
prosecution. That's the prosecution.
Yes, Maureen
Nah,
Comey
I
is
said,
one of
I'm
the
done.
prosecutors. Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I got so many questions. You know how my mind works. I'm not
my
even.
God.
Yeah, but let's
Oh
go.
my God. Let's finish
is
this,
crazy.
and then we'll
this is
keep going.
crazy.
Epstein-related case, that of Nicholas Tartaglione. Tartaglione, a former cop in quadruple murder, was assigned a cell with Epstein and claims that he tried to help Epstein after he was found unconscious with marks on his neck, allegedly attempting suicide. But Epstein's attorney said he didn't attempt suicide, that it was Tartaglione who roughed him up. Later, Epstein was placed on suicide watch, and we all know how well that went. Now, if,
On 24-hour
Tartaglione
surveillance.
sounds familiar to you, it's probably because Ryan pointed out last week that Tartaglione's defense attorney is the same one now representing Ghislaine
I'm gonna
Maxwell.
fast forward this.
So,
Yeah, fast forward it. Hold on. Do your
Tartaglione,
thing
who's
right quick so we
accused,
can hear.
layers to it. I mean, Ryan, what are your thoughts on this?
I want to highlight this.
It also speaks to our fraudulent.
Joe Biden thinks he's a king.
Here
We gotta
go.
add, ladies and
We
gentlemen.
gotta
Vaccine
add, y'all.
mandates will affect
Y'all know the vibes.
meritocracy, that the children of the elites getting all of these different advantages and then believing that they're getting them through their own merit. One thing.
And here's where I want to talk about that part and clip that video, saying children of the elite are being able to basically get away with these high-level crimes because they have money, they have status, they have dirt on other people. Again, here's where I want to highlight. What are they avoiding? They're not avoiding anything. Ghislaine Maxwell is going to go to prison for a long time. I'm going to say that right here. She's going to prison. Jeffrey Epstein is gone. He's dead. And in my opinion, good riddance. And the truth will come out on other people. I promise. If it's not on this, it's on something else. That's how it is. People will have to face the truth. That's all I don't.
I'm not with you there. Because ideally I do believe in a type of privilege in that manner, right? When you have so much money, prestige, and influence, that there's tons of people in politics getting away with fraud, crimes, like you have, Nancy Pelosi inside trading that people think but is never investigated. I won't get into none of that. I'm just giving you examples. But here in this case, like I just have a feeling that she is going to be the scapegoat to protect the people in the actual involvement of this whole thing, where we'll never see true justice. In her end we will, but I believe we'll never see true justice on the people actually involved. In my opinion.
I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just saying that yes, money is going to give you the best attorney, but money's not going to pay for what you look like in society. That's what I'm talking about. You have to face society.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to
yeah.
face the fact that you have to be in this courtroom. You have to face the fact that you have to sit in front of detectives. You have to go through an investigation. You have to go through this you have to go through this process. Now, how it ends, we can give our criticism on it. The point of the matter is, me, you, and them still have to face the law.
Yeah.
And that's what
If
they're
we go
doing.
before the court and it's public. Yeah, yeah. I'm with you.
The other thing is that, again, how do we know that they're protecting people when our own FBI already raided these homes? Forget about her. You don't need her to tell you. You have this information.
The FBI to me is super compromised, by the way.
And
So,
that's where
I
I
have my
start to
thoughts on why,
stop.
but yeah.
My
yeah, so.
biggest concern is not about getting the information or whatever preferential treatment they're getting. How about our government? What kind of preferential treatment are they getting? And is that right? That's where I'm getting at. You have your investigations. You
That's
have
the
your
problem.
district attorney doing a sweetheart deal. Maybe for other reasons, I'm going to play an Alan Dershowitz clip here, and there could be another side to the coin who criminally represented Epstein at that first time, and is also accused of sexual assault as well. And he has a few things to say. So check this out.
It's just part of the job. Did you ever see Mr. Epstein with underage girls?
No. Oh, no. If I had ever seen Jeffrey Epstein in any inappropriate situation with an underage girl, I would have terminated my relationship and turned him in. No way.
So,
meaning that, first off, let me just kind of just based on what my understanding is, because my soon-to-be wife is going to be a lawyer. She's literally on the last legs of law school. She explained this to me. There's an ethical posture that lawyers have to keep, and certain things that they have to reveal to the judge if certain things happen in their presence. So if you could pretty much tell your lawyer, yeah, I'm guilty of all these crimes, and that right there, you're protected by lawyer, attorney, client privilege. Okay, they can't say anything. They can't report you to the police. That's against the bar association or the ethical values of the legal proceeding. But here's where it stops. He asked the question, did you see this happening? And if him as a lawyer sees this, he has to recuse himself from his defense and has to report him to the judge or to the ethics committee, stating that this person is actually doing this in my presence. I cannot represent him. You get what I'm saying? There's a difference there, and that's what he's saying. I had to report that if I saw that in my presence. That's very important, guys.
Obviously surprised by the allegations.
We were shocked by the allegations, but as a criminal lawyer, being shocked by an allegation doesn't mean that I won't defend somebody.
Alan Dershowitz helped negotiate what many have criticized as a lenient plea deal for Jeffrey Epstein in 2008. Dershowitz denies the deal was a bargain, instead arguing prosecutors lacked the evidence to indict Epstein for federal sex trafficking charges.
They thought they would lose, so they
made
cut
a
this deal.
And for them, it was not a bad deal. They got him to be a registered sex offender, to pay vast amounts of money to all of the women, and to get him to plead and go to jail and expose him for the world to see as a sex offender. I think the feds thought it was the best they could do.
An in-depth investigation by the Miami Herald in November.
I don't trust none of these people on this case, man. That's my problem.
Oh, I agree with you.
Yeah, I got a big problem with this case, man, because corruption in this country with these elites and politicians, and now with the Comey connection, now the testimony of the victims. I have to share that right now because I'm just getting more pissed off the more I hear about this, because it's almost like she's going to be a scapegoat, kind of like what Felicia said. I agree with this right here. Epstein is dead. She will be locked up, and nobody will talk about it anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's much bigger than that, man. It's a sense of accountability.
I only have one pushback, and that's the victims. They're not letting it go. They're going to be in the public eye. They're going to write books. Victoria Roberts.
They're going to end up dead if they keep doing that. I think this is big.
Come on. They're not going to kill them because, again, that would confirm whatever is going on. What I'm saying here is
it'll be a suicide.
Victoria Roberts has a foundation for victims, and she is crusading. She's not giving up. She is in Britain right now fighting a case against what is his name? Prince something, the prince there, Prince Andrew. And again, she's not going to relent. That's the people you need. Don't relent. But continue listening to this because Alan has a spin to this.
Epstein molested dozens of underage girls. One detective told the paper the evidence supporting the girls' claims was overwhelming.
Obviously, there's a lot of talk about this being a result of Mr. Epstein's wealth and power. Do you think anyone else would have gotten this sort of deal?
Oh, I think a lot of people without the power and wealth might have gotten a better deal.
Let's say I'm down. I'm done.
That's
I'm
where
out.
I disagree. I disagree.
All right.
I disagree with that. Yeah.
Adding doors. Come on.
Hold on.
Come on.
Made it clear that the prosecution would work very hard to get the best possible deal they could. Look, wealth is a two-edged sword. It helps you put together a very good legal team, but
here's where I agree with him. I disagreed with that first point. Here's where I agree with him.
So it puts you in the public eye in a way that makes the prosecution work very hard.
But this deal was kept very much under the wraps.
So first off, it wasn't kept under the wraps. It was exposed. Everyone knew Epstein was a creep. But what I'm saying here, I agree with this point.
But the media didn't cover it that much, though. It was no Kyle Rittenhouse. It's bigger than Kyle. It's bigger than Ozzy, but they didn't cover it like that, you know. So that's what he's saying.
That's true. But the other part here is, yes, wealth is a double-edged sword. You are in the public eye. You will be revealed. You have a lot to lose. These girls have a lot to gain. You get what I'm saying? They have a lot to. It's the other way around. I could easily just go to my employer and say, you know what, I'm going to bring you up on charges of possible discriminating against me and my race or my ideology, and they rather settle with me because they don't want it to be dragged in the public eye, which is what these people did. So check this out.
I had nothing to do with that part of it.
But legal, ethical, you'd go back and make the same deal and you think it was all squared away.
I would try to get a better deal. The job of a criminal defense attorney is to try to get the best possible deal.
Part of the immunity deal left open the avenue for
civil
charges to be brought up against Mr. Epstein. Any idea how many civil cases have been brought against him, how much money has been paid out?
I wasn't involved at all in the financial aspects of it. I'm a criminal lawyer, not a civil lawyer, but from what I know, tens of millions of dollars were paid out to many, many alleged victims.
Dershowitz is seeking to throw out a defamation lawsuit brought against him by Virginia Roberts Gouffre, who accuses him of participating in Epstein's alleged sex trafficking ring. Dershowitz says he has proof Gouffre is lying.
The same woman that accused me claimed to have had dinner with Bill Clinton and two underage girls on Jeffrey Epstein's island, claimed to have met Al Gore, and Tipper Gore's Secret Service records show that all of that is fantasy and made up. This is a woman with a long, long record of lying for money.
Okay, now that's where I want to clip it. Right there. That's it. That's all I got. But let's talk about some of that stuff. First, let me hear your thoughts because you were sharing a lot of it.
Yeah. I don't trust that. I don't trust it. Why? Even though Alan Dershowitz, I've heard him in interviews. I actually heard him debate on a vaccine, anti-vaccine with Kennedy and stuff like that. I'm aware of some of his past as a lawyer, but I don't know. These connections are too convenient for me, man. And I don't believe these accusations are coming out of nowhere. But I'm also not going to do the, believe the victim card either, right? I believe, everybody deserves their day in court. But there's, for me, from the beginning of what we've been learning, and some I already knew, we're just connecting it together, right? So the audience can see and we can learn with the audience. But it's like, it's just too much uncertainty for me. Too much loose ends. So I'm
And these cases are, my fiance tells me, these cases are incredibly difficult to prove, even on the molecular level, on the bottom of the totem pole, me and you. It's very difficult to prove sexual assault, especially if it happened 10, 20 years ago. Because where's the rape kit? Where's the investigation? Where's the witnesses? It's very, very difficult to prove. That's what she told me, that it gets really messy. Alan Dershowitz knows that. That's number one. He knows that. Number two, the other side of the coin where he brought up that, hey, she has a track record. Victoria Roberts has a track record of looking for money from these situations, because he's actually right. She has sued the Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, many times, won in different countries, made an enormous amount of money that she's been fueling into her foundation. She is not satisfied now. She wants to put these people in prison. I get it. I understand it. She's even now suing Alan Dershowitz currently, and suing Lex Wexman, the CEO of freaking Victoria's Secret, citing that he was also involved in these alleged crimes. So
that's interesting.
Listen, a lot of people may be involved. I am not saying that they're innocent. No one is innocent here. I'm not saying that the victims aren't victims. They are victims. But my whole thing is that when we bring to the light, it will come out. It will be revealed. Let's say she's in prison, right? She's rotting away. If she opens her mouth, if she says, "I'm ready to confess" in prison, the media will be surrounding that. I
they'll kill
promise
her
you.
though.
They will. Oh yeah, they will.
No, I'm a little conspiratory with this case because Epstein made me that. As soon as I heard about this Epstein, all those variables, I'm like, all right, this will drives people to the other side of ideas. Sometimes, like I'm playing around somewhat, but at the end of the day, it's like this is just insane to me. But yeah,
Yeah, and again, this does play into the card where people now start to think: do we need rich people? Do we need a big government? Do we need this? Now, I will say there are inherent problems with every society, with every system. It doesn't change our position on what we believe in America. What we need to have is people to continue bringing this stuff to light, talk about these things, bring it to the surface, because believe it or not, social people seeing this is going to be very powerful. Meaning, like, if a group of people know or suspect that I'm guilty of certain crimes, trust me, your relationships start to deteriorate very quick. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, these are all great info, man. I hope people are enjoying this because it's really good as we're discussing it live here. People can see kind of like the details that we played in those videos to kind of connect their own dots. I think that's important. So yeah, hit that like if you're enjoying this, man. Subscribe if you already are. Thanks for the love. But yeah, that YouTube, we're going slowly but surely. We're building a faithful audience, so we appreciate the support.
Let's bring this home. All right, we have a twofold sip on facts. Savory, you start with the first side.
Yeah, I'll start. All right. Since we're talking about child pedophilia, human trafficking, all these charges being some quick human trafficking statistics, right? So here we go. In 2000, Congress signed Victims Trafficking Violation Protection into the law to start the beginning of scaling back and finding these criminals, right? These are some statistics for people to know. At any given time, in 2016, this was taken, an estimated of 40.3 million people are in modern slavery. This is, by the way, from the U.S. Customs and Protections. It's a government website. This is not just a bias. It's a government website, including 24.9 million in forced labor, 15.4 million in forced marriages. It means there are 5.4 victims of modern slavery for every 1,000 people. 1 in 4 victims of modern slavery are children. And the last one
around the world?
This is around the world, yeah. So out of 24.9 million people trapped in forced labor, 16 million people are exploited in the private sector, such as domestic work, construction, agriculture. Really interesting. So just some fun facts there. What you got for us, Macho?
All right, and the last fact of the day is the urban word bottom bitch. I don't know if anyone is familiar with this.
This guy's out of control, guys. All right, go ahead, man.
Let me read this definition and leave y'all with this. A bottom girl, which is probably the correct term that they will use in court, but on the street they will use bottom bitch. A bottom woman or a bottom bitch sits atop the hierarchy of prostitutes working for a particular pimp. A bottom girl is usually the prostitute who has been with the pimp the longest and consistently makes the most money. Being the bottom girl gives the prostitute status and power over the other women working for her pimp. However, the bottom girl also bears many responsibilities. In U.S. versus Pimpkins, the 11th Circuit described the bottom girl's duties as working, quote unquote, working the track in her pimp's steed, running interference for the collecting money from the pimp's other prostitutes, and looking after the pimp's affairs, if the pimp was out of town, incarcerated, or otherwise unavailable, close quote. So this right here is where I would give the description of who Ghislaine Maxwell is. She is the bottom girl. She's the bottom bitch. She works for the pimp. She's working on his affairs, and he's dead. So hopefully they push her hard enough. Yeah.
That was crazy. Just say this like you took some, yo. But yo, good closing right there. I'm gonna take us home. He said, really? Yo, everybody, thank you for joining. I'm gonna bring us home right quick. I'm gonna let y'all know where y'all can find us. Thank you for joining. This is Savory. That's my man Macho, co-star in here, and we just bringing y'all good information every day about our perspective, trying to give you both sides of these different issues, man. So again, this is where you can follow us, man. Follow us on Twitch. We go live. We actually live right now on Twitch as well. Macho Fix, Savory Edition. Follow us on TikTok. I'm doing more lives. They're getting pretty lit there. Macho is helping out with that. And then we also got Drinks of the Nobody Instagram. Follow our Discord, Drinks of the Nobody. Last but not least, we got our YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe. Also, hit that like button. Even if you go back some videos, I won't tell you to hit the like without watching it, but take a look at it. Watch the video, hit that like so we can, help us with the algorithm as our subscribers go up. Thank you for joining, especially for your faithful ones that keep coming back. We appreciate you.
Alicia, thank you. Appreciate you. You are a consistent watcher or viewer. And
Appreciate
like we said, when we have merch, you're going to have it too. So again, at Drinks with a Nobody, although the show may be ending, but we don't believe in any last calls. So until tomorrow, let's keep the conversation going, y'all.